Welcome back to not really the overtly critical film show, but kind of.
Yeah, this is our new segment, Just Saw, and today we just saw...
The Last Duel, which I read an article about in Entertainment Weekly, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. Just reading about it, so there's 3 writers for the movie.
That would be Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Nicole Holofcener. I hope I'm saying her last name right.
Yeah.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
That was a cool one because we just did Alien.
Yeah, and we're going to do Blade Runner next week, so
right.
a lot of Ridley Scott in this.
It stars Ben Affleck, not a lead role in the movie, but it's really Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and the lady character in the movie, Jodie Comer.
Who I feel like I've seen some things before, but I don't recall the name
I don't think I have. So yeah, I was like, let's just go watch this movie.
Yeah,
and it's his birthday today.
Yeah. Not when this comes out, but when we're recording. And we like movies, so kind of on a whim we said, let's go watch this. And I'll be honest, I saw the trailer for this first. I saw The Green Knight over the summer, which was a pretty good movie. But I saw the trailer for this, and I wasn't super interested. I thought that's probably going to be passable. And wow, this movie was really good.
Oh yeah, I actually remember seeing the trailer for this. Sometimes they do like surveys and stuff, and they're like, "What do you think of this new movie coming out?" I was like, I don't know, not a big historical fan.
But there was nothing else interesting at the box office. So.
No. And so immediately the first thoughts I'm going to give about this movie. This is not going to be spoiler. This is going to be quick. I'm like a total script writing thinker. That's kind of my thing. So when I heard the concept of the movie, 3 different writers, and they each kind of helmed the 3 perspectives in the movie.
Like 4 rooms, but good.
Yeah. So Matt Damon wrote his own part. Ben Affleck kind of wrote for Adam Driver, and then Nicole wrote for Jodie. So that's kind of what I gathered is what they did. Obviously, there was going to be some collaboration and crossover too. But from what I read from this, they kind of wrote it kind of independently. And the movie's 3 chapters, and obviously, again, being the weird script kind of Tarantino guy that I am, it gives a really cool novel kind of twist on the movie. Same events recurring with different perspectives. Some scenes happening, but we see not just different perspectives, but different things before and after those scenes.
Yeah, the premise for this movie, essentially, we should probably mention the premise, is it is a historical drama based on true events and based off a book of the same name. I do not recall the author's name, but essentially, one of the characters, Jacques Legris, the only name I can remember, is accused of raping Marguerite.
Who is the wife of, is it Jean?
Jean
Carogue is...
Jean Caro. Matt Damon's character. So basically...
Matt Damon with a mullet.
Jacques Legris is accused by Margaret of the wife of Matt Damon's character of rape, and now they are going to have a duel, and it is the first in the movie in many years, and also historically the last legally sanctioned duel in France.
Which gives it a cool perspective,
and it's very interesting how you were just talking about they make this movie. It's 3 different perspectives, and I didn't know that going in, actually. Well, I did because we talked about it, but for a while I didn't, so that really made me more interested. They use a lot of tricks to really play with your expectations, but also build on the story. There is one very hard-to-watch scene in this that I remember seeing. I thought, man, that was awful. Why did they show it that early? And then they show it again, and they make it so much worse.
Oh my God! You didn't think they could make it worse.
You didn't think they could, and they make.
And they made a character even scarier than you thought. They made another one even more sympathetic than you thought.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They'll do stuff like they'll leave one event out of someone's story and then show it again, and you're like, so that's what actually happened.
Actually, one of my favorite parts, I was going to back up and say it starts with Matt Damon's perspective, then Adam Driver, and then finally Jodie Comer. I've never heard of this lady. She was pretty good.
Things because her face was very distinct.
She was good in the movie, so she should be more stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the order of how they tell these events. You get these 3 perspectives, and I think the best thing that they did is some scenes the dialogue is totally altered. So they show the same scene from these different perspectives, and people act totally different. And one of the things that Corwin recommended that I watched Cube like a year ago because he really liked that movie. And you told me your favorite thing was how like it changes how you view characters, and this movie does exactly that.
You were talking about
Jodie Comer.
Jodie Comer. You're talking about how Jodie Comer was really fantastic in this movie, and she was honestly standout performance to me was actually Ben Affleck as the Count. I think Pierre.
Yeah,
he was just so much fun. I mean, he's scummy, but he's scummy in such like a self-aware way, whereas some of the other characters are scummy and they just don't get it. They have this honorable view of themselves. I don't think this guy thinks he's honorable at all. He's totally aware of how much of a dick he is.
And Ben Affleck's having a blast.
And he honestly, I didn't recognize him at first, and I was like, oh my god, that's Ben Affleck, because he looks very different. He's dyed his hair for this, and just his performance is so good. And then several points in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's Ben Affleck, because you get really lost in the performances of all the characters, but his was the standout to me.
One thing that I do want to touch on. So obviously, this movie has a lot of connotations of like gender and stuff like that.
This is a very feminist movie. But, not afraid to say that.
Maybe this is a dumb take. One of the interesting things that I thought of was that not like a lot of the assholes in the movie are actually women. A lot of the characters that the main character, what's her name, Margaret,
and she's definitely the main character.
Like some of it is like it's not even just like it's a man's world. It's also there are these stuck up women that just put up with it. And the main character, she's like, no, like I'm gonna stand up for myself, and it's almost like a criticism of just the whole society, like accepting it.
They don't only give you that view of misogyny and can't think of a better word for it, but patriarchy. I mean, especially back in the Middle Ages, it was very much, and I don't know how historically accurate this movie was, but they really make you feel not only like the religious power over the society, the dominant male power over the society, and they show the link between those two, but they show you like, misogynistic women, because that's a thing when it's that systemic in a society like that.
A big theme is complacency, and I love the Christian Science in the movie. It's just...
The four humors! God, I'm so glad they mentioned the four humors. Not enough fucking medieval movies mention the four humors. It is the most dumbass medieval science thing. You need more black bile. It's so ridiculous, but I was so glad they mentioned that.
So I think one last thing we should touch on, because we've covered the script is cool. It's structured a cool way. There's some cool feminist themes you definitely feel for the time period. One thing, I was surprised how good the action.
That's what I wanted you to say. This movie is, and to quote one of my favorite movie reviewers and just content creators online, Chris Stuckman, is good bloody shit.
Yeah.
The first scene of the movie is a violent battle in the French countryside, and you see this is no friggin' chivalrous hitting our swords together. They are punching each other, they are kicking each other, they're hitting themselves with axes, and they're hitting people with axes in the legs. Blood is flying.
The horses.
Dirt is everywhere. Horses are getting stabbed and knocked over and falling on top of people, and they're not shaking it around so you can't see what they're doing. Maybe a little shaky, but it's not. You can follow it.
Yeah.
And when they do get to the duel, they don't do some bullshit where it's like, and it's so quick and dirty and it's over. No, they give you the best fight scene of the movie. And by that point, the stakes are raised. And it's like, I didn't think the stakes could get more raised, but they are. And you were on the edge of your seat in that final duel.
So, I mean, I would say, like, just as a conclusion for me, you can get to your conclusion. I guess I actually can say I learned a lesson from this movie. It really enforces the idea that your characters are nothing more than a lens. They could be. We could see the truth through them, and we could not see the truth through them.
That's a really good take.
That is kind of for the viewer to decide. I will kind of give a weird criticism on the movie though, because technically, a person will never see the actual truth. But I'm willing to forgive that for what they were trying to do in the movie. But it's the idea that every character sees something different. They are a lens, not necessarily the camera. And it's just a well-crafted movie. I like the structure, and it's surprisingly funny sometimes and violent.
Yeah, there's a lot of laughs to be had. And the action is very thrilling.
What's your conclusion?
That was a really good. That was a
good birthday gift.
Yeah. That's a really good way to talk about this movie. For me, honestly, the editing is really good in the sense that because while there are some parts where they change the dialogue and put in new scenes, there's some scenes where all they really change is how it's shot and edited, and you get a very different perspective on very little moments. Like there's a kiss in one scene, and we kind of debated on this because the Super 8 watched this with us, and Super 8 said, no, the kiss was done 3 different ways, but I'm pretty sure it was done this, well, maybe 1 different way, but it was pretty much done the same way in all 3 stories, but the way it was edited was more different, and it gives you a completely different feeling about how each character saw that kiss.
Right.
Really good movie.
I like when
I was blown away.
Yeah, I like when a movie shocks me like this.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, I'm not going to be interested, but it was
and
great.
This isn't some art house stuff. Like, I mean, I talked about The Green Knight. I saw that. You know, that's a very art house, kind of a feminist medieval film too, but very art house, very hard to reach. This is a very watchable film, and more people should see this because the message is good. It's important to talk about this.
And not that I'm like cynical or I like to play devil's advocate and stuff, but like sometimes like when I think films can be preachy sometimes, I really didn't feel like that at all in this.
No.
I mean, like this, it's a good feminist movie. It's a good period piece movie. It's just good.